Hey everybody, Rob Jan Webb here, and I'm going to talk to you today about trying to be less original in your productions. So, for example, some things that hold us back as producers is when we're trying to be really unique in our sound, our signature sound, should I say. We try to be, extremely creative in the fact that we want to sculpture a sound and make it our own. Now, that's all good. But it depends on the sort of music you're making. If you want to be a really sort of unique sort of techno electronic ambient producer, for example, then by all means continue to develop that sound that you've got. But if you're making generic sort of, I say generic, it's not the strongest word to use, but house music in any sort of genre that is well established, should I say. So piano house, tech house, disco, you name it, deep house and so on. If you're making music in that sort of sense, and in pop music as well, or even in some, more harder stuff like drum and bass, trying to be too original can hold you back. So the thing is, just copy the records that you absolutely love. Try not to copy the current top 10 of whatever genre you follow. I've talked about this before, where if you follow tech house, for example, and you listen to the top 10 at Beatport, for example, you don't want to be copying that sound, whatever's hip that week in the charts. That's already been made several months ago, so you kind of may have missed the boat on that. So set your standards, set your stall, should I say, back to zero, and do the basics and the fundamentals of your chosen genre, say tech house, and then add your own style on top of that. But at the same time, just copy your favorite records from, say, a year or two ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. So you don't have to be original, basically. I'm going to show you a track now that I released a few years ago that does okay on streaming and stuff like that, and it sold a few copies here and there. And I've completely ripped off two massive, universally huge disco records from back in the 70s. One of them is Donna Summer, I Feel Love, which we all know, and the other one is Lip Sync Funky Town, which came out a few years after Donna Summer. And they're two major famous riffs. And I've just combined the two of them, added a piano, stuck some beats on, and created like a piano sort of disco-y track. Now, the whole point of this is you don't need to be original anymore. Everything's been done. Everything has been tried and tested pretty much in the mainstream, no matter what musical genre you create. So I'm going to play you the track, and I want you to kind of take from this when you're feeling stuck because you're trying to develop a specific sound, a signature sound. Sometimes just use the generic stuff, the tried and tested stuff, and just get your track out there, because music is a wheel. It constantly goes round and it comes back on itself, and so on and so on. So some things that I want you to take from this are: stop trying to be as unique as you want to be. Sometimes just throwing it out there works a treat, and it might pay off completely. If you want to become a Aphex Twin style producer, or Boards of Canada or something in that sort of vein, then obviously sculpt your sound for as much as you can. But even Aphex Twin is diverse. He's so diverse, isn't he? He doesn't really have a signature sound, whereas Boards of Canada probably do. The point of the meaning is, stop trying to be too creative. Just bang it out and get it out. Let's show you the track now, and I'll show you what I've done, and we'll go from there. So as you can see on the screen, I've got this short track. It's got some really pumping beats. It's got a sidechain sub sort of bass, and it's got the Donna Summer bass line. The Donna Summer bass line is this. Slightly changed. Bum, 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 bum. It's one flat note all the way, look, in C. There you go, look. And it's just filtered up. Like that, you see. It's very, very simple. I'm going to play the whole track. I'm just going to take off the bottom lead for now. It's got a stab in there as well, which is this disco stab, which goes like this. Again, just a famous sample. And it's got that piano creeping in. Got piano notes on the bottom, and And then the funky lead sound comes in, which is the red one. So it's that famous Funky Town riff down on it, you know it. But anyway, combine that with the Donna Summer bass line, you've got a pretty cool sort of. And then put a piano on top. Filter back down again. Snare roll. Drop to a kick. I love that sort of technique. You bring it down to a kick. You've had everything building and then you just drop down to that low kick, that low filtered bass. And then it comes back in again. Round again. Builds back up. And that's all it is. So I've not tried to be in any way creative or original there. I've just taken two infamous sounds, replayed them, and bunged them together with some beats. The sub bass on there is just like a really cool though. Just gives it that bedding underneath. Obviously, I've stripped this down and I've messed about with it, so it's not mixed properly anymore. This is a version I've taken for this tutorial. So that's the whole point of this. When you're trying to be too creative and trying to push yourself too far, just draw back a bit, stop and go, do you know what? I'm going to copy the records that I absolutely love. You know, for me, Disco House of the 90s, Todd Terry and all that kind of stuff, early Roger Sanchez, they're records that I absolutely adore. So sometimes I revert to them, and obviously disco is one of my things, so I revert back to the classics, you know, the obvious stuff, and just reinvent it, just recycle it, just re-whack it out again, you know. And obviously people are going to go, oh, that's that again, oh, that's that again, and yes, they do. But as long as you're not directly sampling it and copying it and just rinsing it for the sake of, and whereas I've done here, I've replayed them in different sounds and used different synths. If you're doing that, you're being creative as well, because you're kind of doing a cover version and you're also adding your own vibe to it and sticking your own drums on and, you know, and blending your own technique to it. So try not to be overly obsessive about it's got to be a specific sound. Just sometimes use the classics, whack your track out, and away you go. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you've taken from that. Give me a shout if you need any mentoring or anything at all in the links below. Take care. I'll see you in the next video.